When they go into the Pon farr, they're down to kill just about anyone. And he actually has a battle to the death with Kirk. And in this episode, Spock actually kills Kirk. Folks, welcome back to Drawing Conversation. I am your dedicated nerd, host, and artist, Danny Fisher. And today we're going to be drawing my 5 favorite episodes of Star Trek, the original series. Let's get drawing. Now, folks, before we get started, again, I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for coming back. Your support truly helps this channel. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe, turn on those notifications, and leave a comment below. So now we're drawing episode 2, to the origin of Star Trek. Now guys, if you haven't caught episode 1 yet, please, there's a link in the description down below for episode 1, as well as a card that should be scrolling along the top of the screen right about now. And that should help you get caught up. For those of you who are already caught up, let's jump in. It debuted its original series on September 8th, 1966. On NBC. Now, it only lasted for 3 seasons and really 78 episodes, which if you compare that to any TV series today, that is a ton of episodes. I mean, Star Trek was just so ahead of its time. And while it was only 3 seasons and it really wasn't hugely celebrated and accepted, what really brought it back was syndication. Now, the creator, Gene Roddenberry, created a world where man had put aside its differences and united its entire gaze towards the stars, to exploring. And this is what really brought the fans on, is it genuinely painted a picture of a brighter future. Now I have to mention that the series was picked up by none other than Desilu Productions. That's right, Lucille Ball, star of I Love Lucy, owned Desilu Productions and was looking for a new series to put into production. And while the series, again, only aired for 3 seasons, it was reruns that created a die-hard group of fans that would follow Star Trek to the ends of the universe. That's how I was exposed to Star Trek. Now let's talk about 5 of the greatest episodes of Star Trek, the original series, in my humble opinion. And coming in at number 5, has got to be Trouble with Tribbles. And honestly, it was one of the first episodes I had ever watched. I really didn't know what I was getting into, and I kind of thought all Star Trek was going to be kind of this slapsticky, but at any rate, Tribbles are these tiny little herbivore creatures with really no eyes or any kind of recognizable mouth, but they're brought on board from an interstellar trader, and he starts selling his wares, and some of these wares are these really cute, puffy balls of fur. And it's Lieutenant Uhura who kind of falls in love with him, and really the whole crew falls in love with him. But nothing's really as it seems, because these cute little things, well, no one ever told him not to feed these tribbles. And when these tribbles get into the Enterprise's grain store, they just reproduce at a level that is just out of control. But I think what I really liked about it is that it also introduced that Klingons don't like tribbles and the other way around. It's one of those funny episodes where it all starts off seemingly innocuous and just goes right off the rails. My number 4 favorite episode has got to be Space Seed. This is the first time we're introduced to Khan, and Khan is played by the outstanding Ricardo Montalban. Now, Khan Noonien Singh is awoken after spending 200 years in cryostasis. You see, during the Third World War in the Star Trek fictional history, we started dabbling in a eugenics program and altering human genetics to the point where they were 5 times stronger than an average man. And Khan kind of goes on the run. He takes his most trusted crew and places everyone in a cryostasis. Now, the Enterprise didn't know this, at least not initially, and stumbles upon the spacecraft known as the Botany Bay. And when Khan is awoken, he sets out to take over everything. That's right, he's not just super strong and amazingly brilliant, but an absolute lady killer. He actually seduces the ship's historian, Mary McGivers, into kind of helping him take over the Enterprise. But in the end, it was McGivers herself that actually saved the day. Khan's plans are foiled, and Kirk, for whatever reason, instead of having him stand trial for his crimes and imprisoned, actually lets him go down with his crew of 84 and set roots in an uncolonized world on a planet called Ceti Alpha 5. Now, if you want to find out exactly what happened to Khan, go out and watch Wrath of Khan. Honestly, one of my favorite Star Trek films. But now number 3 for me has got to be The Arena. And in this episode, what I like so much about it is that Kirk sets out with his crew to go visit a Federation outpost. And they're all looking forward to it because they're going to get a home-cooked meal for the first time in months because, food on the Enterprise isn't exactly great. Kirk and the team beam down to the outpost, and this outpost is under attack, and we don't see who the attacker is. And for me, that was the best part. It was the buildup, it was the suspense. They were being bombarded constantly by mortar rounds. Well, it turns out it's a race called the Gorn, and the Gorn are these gigantic lizard-looking species that are extremely strong, but about as fast as a turtle. Yeah. And it's the funniest thing watching Captain Kirk actually fight this huge dude in a lizard suit. But if you can suspend reality long enough, it is a great episode that shows the ingenuity of Captain James T. Kirk. My number 2 favorite episode, Amok Time. Because what it does is it expounds more about Vulcans and their physiology, as well as their mating behaviors. Now, you remember me saying something about Vulcans having let go of all emotion? Yeah, well, that's not necessarily true. Because once every 7 years, they kind of go into heat. Well, it's called Ponfar. And in this time, male Vulcans' blood actually boil in their veins. And the only way to stop it is to kill a man or get married. Yeah, we come to learn that Spock is engaged. Well, as he puts it, stronger than an engagement, but less than a marriage. So kind of a weird Vulcan in between. And his betrothed is a female Vulcan by the name of T'Pring. And T'Pring is absolutely beautiful. But what's awesome with this episode is that we learn so much about Vulcans. Well, it's the first time we see the Vulcan landscape. And it is a dry and desolate place. Think about Mars. And the air is extremely thin, with an increased gravity on this planet. And as a result, according to Gene Roddenberry's writing, Vulcans are extremely strong, like twice as strong as a human, can live hundreds of years. Yeah, kind of think of elves, only in space. And we find out that even though these Vulcans are peace-loving primarily, when they go into the Ponfar, they're down to kill just about anyone. And he actually has a battle to the death with Kirk. And in this episode, Spock actually kills Kirk. Well, he believes he killed Kirk. And when he finally realizes at the end of the episode that Kirk is actually alive, you genuinely see Spock's mask slip and shows his human side and just reacts with the most natural and spontaneous outburst of emotion, which, again, Vulcans look down on. Well, going back to T'Pring, as soon as he kills Kirk, his bloodlust, well, it kind of stops. And he finds out that T'Pring really didn't want to marry Spock. She wanted to go off and do her own thing and not be in the shadow of the brilliant and legendary Spock. And like I mentioned earlier, everybody wanted to know more about Spock and the Vulcan civilization. And this episode really delivered on that. And my number 1 favorite episode is the episode Mirror Mirror, where in a weird transporter accident, Kirk, Uhura, Scotty, and Dr. McCoy are accidentally beamed in an alternate dimension where instead of the Enterprise having a peaceful mission of discovery, is an empire bent on taking over the entire universe. And it's up to Kirk and crew to figure out a way back to the Enterprise, or back to their universe. And it really does show the first time we see the evil goatee Spock, which just becomes so iconic with, well, evil versions of yourself. Because we all know everyone with a goatee is evil. Wait. Anyway, that's not important. What's important is that Star Trek gave everyone a united idea of what the human race could become. And for me, that's why I will always love Star Trek. Friends, thank you so much for watching. Your support truly helps this channel. So as always, please don't forget, hit that subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment below. Let me know your favorite episode of Star Trek. And until we meet again, live long and prosper. You know how to do it, you know!